Revelio. What are you up to now? Revelio. Abandoned long ago, no doubt. Revelio.
Are you ready to put an end to Harlow?
I'm ready to do what's needed to take Harlow down. I know you have a plan.
We must gather information from the friends of Mr. Bickle that Archie and Mrs. Bickle mentioned. Agabus Filbert, Otto Dibble, and Mr. and Mrs. Rabe.
All right.
I suggest that you speak with each of them while I head to the Hogshead. I saw some Ashwinders heading there. And as my mother would never go near the Hogshead, she is less likely to learn of my activities than if I were to wander the village questioning its residents.
Where am I to find these friends of his?
I do not know about Mr. Rabe, but his wife, Daisy, is often in Hogsmeade, as is Agabus Filbert. And Otto Dibble, he works at Gladrags, so you will likely find him there.
What sort of information am I trying to gather from these people?
They may know what evidence Mr. Bickle had against Harlow, or they may have evidence of their own. We simply need to know whatever they know.
Very well. I'll speak with them. See what I can learn.
I knew I could rely on you. We need to know how they are being blackmailed by Rookwood and Harlow. Meet me here after you have spoken with them. Hopefully, by the time you return, I will be able to move a bit more freely.
Revelio.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Mrs. Rabe should be nearby.
Oh, Isco, what have I done?
Mrs. Rabe, I wondered if I might speak with you about Theophilus Harlow. I'm a friend of the Bickles and I'm trying to gather evidence against him.
Poor Joanna and little Archie. And now Harlow has taken my darling Isco.
What do you mean? Why?
I'm a security guard at Gringotts, and my husband is a curse breaker for them. Harlow approached me about helping him extort my colleagues into giving him treasures from the vaults.
And you declined?
Of course I declined. Repeatedly. I thought they'd given up, until I came home one night and found my husband gone, and a note affixed to my door with a knife. The note stated that I only had a few days to reconsider helping with some banking needs, and that my husband would appreciate it if I acted quickly. But the help Harlow wants is help that I cannot give, and my dearest Isco is paying the price.
Why wouldn't Harlow extort your husband?
Isco's job is even more removed from the vaults than mine. He travels the world for the bank. He could do nothing for Harlow. I'm the one in the bank on a daily basis, which evidently makes me an enticing target for blackmail.
Have you helped Harlow since your husband was taken?
No, I'm worried sick about Isco, but he'd never want me to compromise my integrity. I also know that he's extremely clever. That said, I was hoping he would have escaped by now. It makes me concerned as to why he hasn't.
Are you sure the note means that your husband was kidnapped?
What else could it possibly mean? Besides, I came home to find that someone had trampled the daisies in our garden. It may sound silly, but those were Isco's pride and joy. He would never have let that happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Rabe. Knowing the lengths that Harlow will go to is helpful, albeit more than disturbing.
Mr. Bickle was trying to help us, but now he's gone. I don't know what to do.
I shall do all I can to get evidence against Harlow, Mrs. Rabe.
Very well. Here's the note I received. You must be careful as well. Please don't put yourself in danger.
Some evidence worth hanging on to.
Thank you. I hope it's not too late.
Now to find Mr. Bickle's other two friends. Otto Dibble works at Gladrags. I should check there.
Please tell me you didn't take it, but perhaps...
Mr. Dibble, may I speak with you? It's about Theophilus Harlow.
I've nothing to say about him. May I interest you in a stunning cravat today?
Please, sir, I would like to help. I spoke to Mrs. Bickle.
You know the Bickles? All right, but we must be discreet. Can't have Mr. Hill hearing this.
I know Mr. Hill. He was kind to me the day of the troll attack.
Oh, he's a good man. But even he wouldn't understand about Harlow. It started a few weeks ago. I was distracted, reading a note, when you-know-who came into the shop. I hid the note behind the counter and offered to help him. He stared at me for a moment, then asked me to check on an order he'd placed. I went into the storeroom to check on what turned out to be a non-existent order. When I returned, he was holding the note.
What was in the note?
It was a note from Rosie Hill, Mr. Hill's daughter. You see, we've been, secretly engaged these past 6 months. We haven't told Mr. Hill yet. I dare say he has higher hopes for her. Harlow advised me in no uncertain terms that my relationship with Rosie, not to mention my employment here, depended upon my cooperation.
What did he ask you to do?
It all happened so quickly. In an instant, he took a very expensive scarf from the counter, pocketed it, and smiled. He said, "Your secret is safe as long as I can supply my lady friend with delightful items like this every so often." I've been able to cover for his requests until now with some creative bookkeeping, but I can't keep it up for much longer. I'm terrified to say anything. I could never live without Rosie.
Could you give me a bit more detail about the note that might help me to identify it should I come across it?
It's on Rosie's special pink stationery. It has her monogram at the top, RH. That's how Mr. Hill would know it was real.
What have you been doing to keep the extortion a secret?
Well, as I mentioned, creative bookkeeping. And I've also been trying to cover the costs with my own savings, but I'm running out of money. Of course, none of this bodes well for my efforts to improve my circumstances and to be worthy of Rosie.
I met Mr. Hill the day of the troll attack. He was kind to me. Why don't you just tell him?
He's a lovely man. But when it comes to Rosie, I fear he loses all perspective. He'd see this as a grave betrayal. I'd lose my job instantly, and Rosie as well.
Thank you for telling me. I'm gathering evidence to take Harlow down.
I would love nothing more than to see him rotting in Azkaban, but be careful. He's an awful man and incredibly dangerous. As for Rosie's letter, should you happen upon it, I have committed it to memory. You may destroy it immediately.
Understood.
Now hurry off before Mr. Hill returns. Where was I?
We're on the right track. Now to find the last of Mr. Bickle's friends. Agabus Filbert must be around here somewhere.
Hello there.
Excuse me, Mr. Filbert. I wondered if I might speak with you about your dealings with Theophilus Harlow. I hope to ease Mrs. Bickle's mind by gathering evidence against him.
Tragic, what happened to Bickle. He wanted me to speak out against Harlow for an act of violence committed against me. But I feared Harlow's retaliation, and so I refused.
You may have shared Mr. Bickle's fate if you had spoken out against Harlow, as he requested.
Unfortunately, I suspect you're right.
You said that Harlow committed an act of violence against you. Could you tell me what happened?
Before my extraordinary wife, Dulcibella, passed away, she had just completed a small book of poetry. As a surprise for her birthday, one she never had the chance to celebrate, I had the book beautifully bound and plated in gold. One day, Harlow came calling to punish me for having spoken out against the Neanderthals that comprised Rookwood's lot. Before I knew it, I'd been petrified, and Harlow was rifling through my home. He found the book of poetry, with its exquisite gold plating. I watched helplessly, lying there in my entranceway as he walked away with the book, laughing as he went. I was shaken to my core. Still am, to be honest.
I imagine you fear Harlow retaliating again. But do you mind if I share this information with Officer Singer?
I suppose I have no choice. This extortion can't go on forever. You can pass it on to anyone who may be willing to help. Harlow does not like people talking, as you already know.
Hello? I've spoken with Mr. Bickle's friends. Now to find Natty. Revelio. Lumos. It's not like Natty to be late. She said she was going to the Hog's Head. Perhaps I'll find her there.
Cheeky tourist.
If it wasn't for my
Had a fellow from London tell me this.
Natty must be around here somewhere.
Me more broken. What's the point of toiling?
Natty's wand. She can cast without it. She wanted me to find this. She's in trouble. Revelio will show me where she was taken. Revelio.
Nosy little students get what's coming to them.
I'd take up herbology if it didn't involve so much dung.
Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. Footprints led to this room. There must be another way forward. The hidden door. Revelio. Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. better be sure I'm not seen.
It's not gonna work. Using that girl's Hagrid's coming for her. We ought to just kill her. Only a Hogwarts student would be arrogant enough to come in here alone.
Amelia.
Nothing even worth stealing in Murray. I don't mind breaking a few bones if there's a few galleons in it for me. I wouldn't go back to Pitterpond if they was giving out galleons.
When we're done here, I'm going straight to the Hogshead. Or perhaps I'll just...
When I had a knocker when I was young like, I can't.
Lower Hogsfield needs some... visit. Girl's been nothing but trouble. About time we locked her up.
Mr. Tallis.
I remember my father speaking. Seems now they're a convict, they tell them.
Can't believe we're forced to work with these goblins.
Amelia.
Brockborough's always a treasure trove. Never failed to fill the sacks. Well, that's me, of course.
They don't seem to care for me in Hogsmeade. Can't say I blame them what we all have done there.
Be on the lookout for the girl's friend. If they're daft enough to try to come through here. He'd better notice is all I can say. I'm better than the lot.
I don't want to work with goblins. Not now, not ever. Rookwood's gone mad.
Amelia.
The Hamlets don't stand a chance against us.
I've robbed every travelling vendor that's passed through here. They never... You remember the first fight we took? Can't say I do. What a bit of a killer at this point. Let's finish this job and be done with it. Waste of time, this is.
My loyalty's to Rookwood and no one else. I couldn't wait to get out of Hogwarts when I was there.
Amelia.
More times than I can count. They're incapable of defending themselves. I may go to Hogsmeade later, stir up some trouble. They need to be reminded that we're still running things. It's exhausting. Standing here all day waiting to do Rookwood's work for it. He can find his own.
We should speak to her again. Perhaps she'll tell us where we can find that friend of hers.
She's determined to say nothing. The boss will deal with her when he arrives. I felt it.
I'm the only one left on patrol. Charming.
That's the best. Expulso!
Sendo!
Protego!
Jump in! Expulso! It's all the fault of us witches! Confringo!
Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. I'd better be sure I'm not seen.
Lower Hogsfield needs some stocks after our little visit.
It's not gonna work. Using that girl as bait, no one's coming for her. We ought to just kill her. Only a Hogwarts student would be arrogant enough to come in here alone.
I don't want to work with goblins. Not now, not ever. Rookwood's gone mad. I could use a fire whistle right now.
Revelia.
Rookwood will reward us for our loyalty, don't you fret.
Yes, there've been mistakes, but I can't complain.
Feldcroft was extraordinarily dull. Does no one put up a good fight anymore?
I hope Rookwood knows what he's doing.
Professor, tell us.
They teach
Revelia.
I get mixed up in this, doing Rookwood's work for him.
What?
They don't seem. Girl's been nothing but trouble. About time we locked her up.
Professor, tell us.
I used to be stationed near Irondale with Selwyn.
I tell you what I want. Hey!
Be on the lookout for the girl's friend, if they're daft enough to try to come through here.
Let's finish this job and be done with it. Waste of time, this is.
Oi!
I've had enough of Feldcroft, and I never have to see it again.
What?
I've raided Rockborough more times than I can count. They're incapable.
It's about time, Rookwood.
No one afraid to face me.
Hey!
Revelia.
Hey!
I've robbed every traveling vendor that's passed through here. They never see it coming. There must be some
What?
that we could recruit. It's exhausting, standing here all day waiting to do Rookwood's work for him. He can fight his own battles.
Revelio.
We should speak to her again. Perhaps she'll tell us where we can find that friend of hers.
She's determined to say nothing. The boss will deal with her when he arrives. Could do worse than hit upon forward. Shopkeepers keep their shelves full. The girl's friend was...
I don't trust Ranrok, I'll tell you that.
Natty must be here somewhere.
You found us! I knew you would realize I had left my wand for you. Speak to Mr. Rabe. He will tell you what you need to do.
Mr. Rabe, Daisy told me you'd been abducted.
You spoke with my wife. How is she?
Worried about you. Are you all right?
I am all right. Thank you for coming. These locks are cursed, and there's an anti-apparition jinx on the cells. Even Natty's skill with wandless magic cannot free us. I need you to find my wand.
Use mine. We'll find yours together once you're out of there.
I need my wand for this. Using one with which I have no connection may not work as well or as quickly, and we cannot risk detection.
I shall do my best. Any idea where it might be?
It's nearby. I can sense it.
Understood. I'll find it.
Your friend Natty was not able to summon my wand. It must be blocked by something.
Revelio. Mr. Abe's wand could be in there. Hello, Amora. Mr. Abe's wand. He'll be glad to have this back. Revelio. Mr. Abe, I found your wand.
Well done. I knew it was nearby. Now, you best stand back. One never knows how a curse will react to being broken.
Thank you, Mr. Isco.
Revelio.
My pleasure. And thank you, my friend. We owe our lives to your bravery. I may be too weak to disapparate with you both, but I can try.
You go ahead. Find Officer Singer. We will get out of here on our own.
Very well. but be careful. Thank you, my young friends.
Be prepared for a fight. These Ashwinders must pay.
I remember my father speaking these times. Seems now they're upon me, they tell quite a...
I hope Rookwood knows what he's doing. Cast my eyes closer, best to be sure.
Keep on your toes, stay alert.
I've never seen
Revelio.
I don't trust Ranrok, I'll tell you that. He'll turn on us first chance he gets.
Brave? I'd say we know who to leave at home minding the oven.
When we're done here, I'm going straight to Hogshead.
What? Perhaps it's dinner I'm hearing. Just warming up. A new cup has more bite. Novice luck.
Expelliarm! Confringo!
You'll have to do better than that!
That's just the beginning. To your knees. No, knew you were still hanging about. Aha, back to the full. Pay for your deed. No!
They got what they deserved.
Book of poems that was taken from Agabus Filbert. He'll be thrilled to have this back. Revelio. Revelio. Otto Dibble's love letter from Rosie. He wanted me to destroy this if I found it.
Let's find Officer Singer and put an end to Harlow once and for all.
Natsai Onai. I should have known. And you, the troll dispatcher. Oh, thank goodness the two of you are safe. Isco Rabe told me a couple of students had rescued him. Should have known it was you two.
Is Mr. Rabe all right?
He is. I sent him home to his wife. Miss Onai, your mother will not be pleased to learn that you're still risking your safety pursuing these dangerous men.
Actually, Officer Singer, Natty and I learned of several Hogsmeade residents who've had their lives threatened by the Ashwinders. In addition to abducting Mr. Rabe to blackmail his wife and Natty, Rookwood and Harlow have also extorted Agabus Filbert and Otto Dibble.
I will look into all of that. As for the two of you, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you are taking great risk. Next time, please let the authorities handle the Ashwinders.
Yes, officer. Do you have enough evidence to take down Harlow and the rest of Rookwood's lot?
Well, it's certainly a good start. We shall see. But you can leave this to me now. Natsai, you may wish to speak with your mother about this before I do.
My mother will not like this. Thank you again for rescuing me. We shall speak soon.
I do love to reminisce about days gone by. Wish I had a medicine.
Alohomora.
My advice when dealing with untoward matters is in for a canut, in for a galleon.
Revelio.
Stays young, I'd say. Tips in the hat.
Alohomora.
Come now, don't be stingy. Tips in the hat, please. New instruments are expensive, you know. I could use some help. Come now, don't be stingy. I must be old.
Revelio.
Please? Those that go to Azkaban I remember you. Your generosity helped me afford this rather exotic snake.
You're back! Nice to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again.
Wonder who lives here.
Sebastian, a lost relic from a catacomb which requires a dark sacrifice.
I know how it sounds, but if this can help you, it's worth the risk.
Does Ominous know about this?
He helped find the scriptorium where we discovered Slytherin's spellbook.
Very well. If Ominous will be there, I'll meet you. We don't have much time. Solomon wants to leave Feldcroft.
What? Leave? Never mind. You need to stall him. Buy us time, Anne. Please.
I shall do my best. I'll be in touch.
Solomon can't take Anne from Feldcroft. Where would they go? When would I see her?
Sebastian.
I can't believe my uncle wants to leave Feldcroft. Anne's going to stall him. She must. We need time.
Time? For what?
I've learned more about the relic. I cross-referenced Slytherin's spellbook with everything in the library on relics and dark sacrifices. That's when I realized something. I believe the relic will only work inside the catacomb.
So we have to get Anne to the catacomb and then conduct a sacrifice. Seems risky.
It'll be worth the risk. Our biggest hurdle may be convincing Ominous. And we'll only give this a chance if he's on board.
And we have to keep all of this from your uncle. If he goes to the headmaster, we could be expelled.
Let me handle Ominous this time. As for my uncle, he's not an Auror anymore. What he doesn't know, well, won't hurt us.
Do you think your uncle would tell anyone at the ministry about all of this if he found out?
If he found out, I doubt he'd go to the ministry. He didn't part ways with them well, from what I understand. He won't say, but I believe his strong aversion to dark magic has something to do with his time there. Anne thinks he once decided to fight fire with fire, so to speak, and resorted to using an unforgivable curse in a fight against dark wizards. At least that's what she thought she heard. When he realized what his job had led him to become, he left rather abruptly. So, I'm not sure he'd go to the ministry to report on his own family using dark magic now.
Good luck with Ominous, until we meet again.
I shall let you know when the four of us should meet at the catacomb. Look for my owl. See you soon.
Revelio. Expelliarmus! Confringo!
I can do this. I can do this. They will want to help.
Is this where we're meeting the centaurs?
Well, they don't exactly know we're coming, so it's less of a meeting and more of a surprise, I suppose.
I'm not sure about this. I can't imagine they're fond of being surprised.
We don't have a choice if we want to help the Snidgets. Perhaps they'll be able to tell that we're sincere? There's something about them that's so knowing. It's almost unnerving.
I hope they can tell we're sincere, but Poppy, centaurs are just centaurs. They can't read your mind any better than I could.
Perhaps you're right. It's just... Never mind.
What is it?
It's nothing, truly. We've no secrets to hide.
That's right. We'll simply be honest with them about what we're trying to do. They'll have to help us, won't they?
Yes, of course. You're absolutely right. We'll meet with them, tell them about the Snidgets, and I'm sure it'll all be fun.
What do you think you're doing here, humans?
Please! We were hoping to speak with you.
Ah! I suppose you'd like a tale for your friends of the time you spoke to a centaur, and it spoke back.
No! Never! We're here because we need your help.
Enough! You made a grave error in judgment in coming here, little witch.
Leave them be, Alec. We do not harm the young. It is not our way.
You forget your place, old fool. I'm the leader of this herd, and while you cling to our way, their kind continue to slaughter beasts like us without a care!
From what I can see, they have slaughtered no one. They will leave here unharmed.
Mark my words, Doran. If I ever see them again, it will be all 3 of your heads.
Foolish children. Do you know what happens to wizards who wander here? Now, follow me
Golden
before
Snidgets are still alive, and the poachers are after them. They know that the key to finding them lies in the moonlight, but they don't know what that means, yet. Please, help us find the Snidgets before the poachers do.
Could it be? In the south, there is a cave within which lies what the poachers seek. A moonstone. Retrieve it and place it in the henge in the forest. I, on the other hand, must go speak with the herd. Find me after you have done this.
I don't understand. So the moonlight mentioned in the journal doesn't refer to actual moonlight, but to a moonstone. What do moonstones have to do with Snidgets? And why was he so certain about where we could find one?
Isn't moonstone all around us? Why retrieve one from a cave?
Knowing centaurs, I suspect he's referring to a specific moonstone. We'll likely know it when we see it.
I don't know, but I am inclined to believe him, what with his being a centaur and all.
I am too. It is a shame how quickly he left. What was his name? Doran.
That's what the leader of the herd called him.
Well, if Doran knows something we don't, I'd rather act now and ask questions later. I can head to the library and start looking into the cave you mentioned. I'll let you know what I find. I hate to see a creature get put down like that. But But trolls have no...
Tell me. Whisper it in my ear. I won't be upset.
I have been meaning to speak with you.
I still can't believe we escaped the Ashwinders.
You may not realize it, but you are the talk of the school since you saved me that day.
I wonder how everyone knows about it.
I told my mother in the hope that she would be more forgiving of what I have been up to if it came from me. She likely told other professors, and news travels quickly. Unfortunately, she might, in fact, have been even less forgiving than I'd hoped.
I don't blame her for being concerned. We have been involved in some dangerous activities.
As the Ashwinders were locking me up and threatening my life, it did occur to me that my mother may have been right.
Has Officer Singer done anything with the evidence we provided?
She has not. Harlow is as strong as ever. Someone needs to stop him, whether it is us or Officer Singer. If someone had stopped the monsters like him in Matabeleland, my father would be alive today.
What exactly happened to your father?
It was a beautiful day. My mother had gone to tend to a neighbor who was ill, and so my father and I were galloping in the savannah.
Galloping? Your father was also an animagus, I take it?
He could become the most majestic giraffe, and he would carry me on his back, my arms around his neck. We were on our way home. when we surprised a group of bandits who had come from our village. One of them saw me just as he removed a scarf from his face. He shouted and then aimed his rifle.
He didn't want you to identify him.
Exactly. In an instant, my father bowed his neck to protect me and was hit. As he fell, my father changed back into his human form. When the bandits saw this, they turned and ran in fear. Magic terrified them, and then he was gone. And it was all my fault.
Your fault? How so?
He died protecting me. If I had been capable of protecting myself, he would still be alive today. My mother and I tried to go on without him, but it became too much for us there. A few years later, we left to come to Scotland.
Do you think taking down the Ashwinders will avenge your father's death?
No. Vengeance is not what drives me. My father would not want that. He and my mother raised me to believe that it is a privilege to be able to fight for those who cannot. I know there is risk involved, but I feel it is worth it. I am glad you seem to think so too.
What does your mother think about all of this?
Well, as you saw, she worries a great deal. She is an excellent seer, but I think it bothers her to this day that she did not see my father's death coming. She misses him, as do I. So I believe on some level she understands my need to seek justice in a small way. But that does not mean that she likes it.
Do you think your father would approve of the things we've been doing?
Oh my, that is a good question. In theory, yes. Although he would worry as my mother does. But I think he, of all people, would understand my persistence. My father never shied away from a fight for good, no matter how ruthless the foe. And I think he would have enjoyed knowing that I had a compatriot like you.
I'm sorry, Natty. I can't imagine what you've been through. Your father sounds exceptional.
He was. Truly extraordinary. And thank you for your kind words. We all have our burdens. My father had a saying about that.
Yes, I remember. Rain does not fall on one roof alone.
Exactly. Soon you and I will put an end to the Ashwinders, beginning with Harlow. And once he is gone, we will turn our attention to Rookwood. We are making progress, and we will succeed. Thank you again for saving me. You deserve all of the praise you have received.
Hogsmeade, here I come.
Care enough to remove my demiguise statues.
Pardon me, sir, but about those curious demiguise statues I've seen.
What? Who are you? Why do you ask?
They're quite clever.
Oh, thank you. A lot of craftsmanship and care went into them. I assume.
So you did create them?
Yes, I did. It was a ploy to give that pathetic oaf Moon a taste of the grief he caused me years ago. You are the one who's been pilfering them.
I am, at the request of Mr. Moon. I received your owl. On your stationery.
Ah. Well, fitting Moon would enlist a student. Too cowardly to do it himself. Hasn't changed a bit. Even when we were at school, he was a cowardly bully. Gave me a horrible nickname, which I shan't repeat. I was thrilled when we left school and he seemed gone for good. Then I started seeing him around Hogsmeade. It was too much. Even if I do take satisfaction in that his life's destiny was to be a lowly caretaker.
Mr. Moon does a good deal for the school, and he's taught me a lot. He's terrified of those statues.
I know. You should have seen his face when that boggart appeared. Oh, priceless. That's when I knew what I needed to do. I simply didn't want to encounter him anymore. So, I shrewdly put a boggart in his path to learn his greatest fear. I then created the demiguise statues to keep him in his place, so to speak. The moons were an inspired play on his name. It worked brilliantly, until you started clearing them out.
The statues are a form of bullying. You'll know better than him. Perhaps it's time you both moved on.
Fair point, I suppose. If they've terrified him, as you say, he may have learned his lesson.
Mr. Moon, I've learned who's behind the demiguise statues. It was an old schoolmate of yours, Piers Pemberton.
Oh, I might have known. Pigtails Piers.
I don't think he likes being called that.
Of course he does! Oh, he had such flowing locks, and we used to laugh about them. I laughed the hardest of all. Clever, clever man. I'd no idea he was so devious. I must go and congratulate him. Whatever statues remain seem less terrifying now that I know they were put out by old pigtails. Continue collecting them if you like. As for me, I'm going to go and pay a visit to my old friend.